Get bad news I want from him because he's very handsome. Dr. Irwin Redlenner joins us now. MSNBC medical expert. Dr. Irwin Redlenner.
Here he became Dr. Doom.
Dr. Irwin Redlenner is the founding director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness and senior research scholar.
Dr. Doom.
Hi, Dr. Redlenner. Hi.
Hello, Ms. Stephanie. How are you?
That's how we list all of your many accomplishments in your jingle so that we can differentiate from Fox doctors. I mean, I get it. We're exhausted. We're all exhausted. I'm sure you're exhausted from telling people to get vaccinated and mask up. And obviously, as we've been talking about, a lot of places are requiring masking again because we're having a spike in COVID. I mean, it's just why to this day, I don't understand why this has to be such a big deal to people.
Because, and I know we've talked about this, because it's been politicized to the point where you cannot have a rational discussion about medical and public health evidence and data to support a particular action by people. So people are making it up as they go, and it's taken on this horrible political taint now, which has got us very confused and emphasized and re-emphasized on social media to the point where people's heads are spinning. Yeah. It's dangerous. It's very unfortunate. I have no idea what we're going to do about combating the BS that we're getting on social media.
Doc, we were talking a couple days ago about it just seems like a new wave just leads to a new wave of COVIDiocy on the right. There was a story about...
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But some, anti-vaxxers apparently are not getting their dogs vaccinated anymore because they think that the vaccines could be giving their dogs autism. You can't make this stuff up. So that now we're going to have an outbreak of rabies because people won't get their pets. I'm like...
Yeah, maybe we could dwell on this dogs getting autism from vaccine a bit. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but just to kind of underscore at least once would be worth thinking about the stupidity of some of these guys that are promulgate these lies and this misinformation that's promulgated on social media. It's just amazing. Yeah,
my friend Steven Stills does Light Up the Blues concerts for autism. I'm sure we can get him to do a canine version.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Okay. Doc, we talked, I saved this one piece because I love it about, again, you said every week on here, it's always going to be a race between the vaccines and the variants. And so, all of us here are anxiously awaiting the new vaccine that'll be out, as you say, in September. I just love the way they described it in this CNN piece. Variants are another reason people need to keep getting COVID vaccines. The coronavirus evolves constantly. Most of the time, its improvements are incremental. In essence, it slips on a hat or a fake mustache. But that's not enough to completely disguise it from our immune system or our vaccines when it tries to break in. Occasionally, it gets a makeover. It has cut and dyed its hair, had plastic surgery, and lost a ton of weight, so to speak. These are big changes that make it unrecognizable to our immune system, and sometimes to vaccine and drugs we use to fend it off. Again, I mean, it's the reason to keep up with this is why I'm wearing my boosted T-shirt. Is that's going to be another battle, is to convince people they need to keep getting boosted, right?
They do need to keep getting boosted, but again, as the variants continue to show up in various places around the world and they're being monitored, there is always the worry that a variant will appear that will not work with the old vaccine. So, which is why we have to wait for the new vaccine to come out, which it will probably end of September, now beginning of October.
That was just a way. It was understandable to those of us in Hollywood. We could just go, "Oh, you're just wearing a pair of Groucho glasses. My immune system's got you. You're the same." And then sometimes it shows up. It's Meg Ryan, and you're like, "You are unrecognizable."
Oh, come on! Movie coming out. Oh my!
Oh my God!
I'm just saying, some people have a little plastic surgery. Some people have a lot.
Her face is back to normal.
All right, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying there's even just as late as yesterday, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about these new strains that are being tracked, and they're seen like in various places, not in high numbers, but in various places around the world, in wastewater in the United States. And scientists track it very carefully because the question is, will it be detectable by the usual COVID tests? Probably all of them will be. Will they be susceptible to being interfered with by new vaccines? That's a maybe.
Yeah.
But many of them just fade away anyway. So I'm contemplating as I'm speaking about how doomsy to be about this because they're happening all the time.
Right.
But it's not yet cause for alarm, except that people have to pay attention to what's happening, not rule out vaccines because you're politically attached to candidates, people, ideas on social media that make no sense.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, keep your masks on in appropriate places, and wait to see which vaccines are out there and which ones are going to work and will be needed this fall.
Chris likes to quote Dr. Deborah Birx just to irritate me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm of the opinion she can shut up because she didn't say anything when it was important. Here's my point, Dr. Redlenner. What did she say about the new...
Well, I was listening to a podcast earlier this week that she was on, and she was saying that the boosters that are coming out this fall are taking care of the virus that was spiking this summer, but isn't really taking care of the new variants that are emerging and will be, widespread this fall. And so ramping up the old vaccines really isn't it's really a problem. They need to be working on the new vaccines.
But I thought
now.
Doc, I thought this was a new one, the one coming out in September that is supposed to cover
it is
the latest
a new
variants.
One, but there's also newer virus mutations or variants.
Right.
So, like you just put it succinctly, this is a race between the rate of mutations, of change of the virus, and the efficacy of the vaccines that are developed. There's always going to be a lag. They can't develop the latest vaccine until they identify what the new variant is.
Yeah, it's like that Patton.
On the other hand,
it's that Patton Oswalt bit about it's hard for comedians to keep up with the crazy crap that Donald Trump does because
and do
the minute you write one joke, he does something even worse.
Are the at-home COVID tests accurate with new variants that are happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So far, there's actually no concern.
Good.
That the rapid COVID test, the antigen test, there's no concern that it won't work.
Okay.
It should work no matter what. Okay. And we'll see about the rest of it, but we have to keep track of this very carefully. But the one thing that didn't happen yet that we were talking about 2 years ago was the development of a universal vaccine that could cover any variant. And that is being worked on, especially in some of the U.S. military advanced laboratories, but hopefully that'll come out and it'll take away this fear that we'll get a shot and the shot won't work against the latest variant.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? Because we were kind of being told that it was coming, and now we don't hear anything about that.
Right.
Did they have failures?
It's not clear what they had, and it's the military, so we don't nobody actually knows the details.
They could tell you, but they'd have to kill you.
Taking so long? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it sounds like the good news that I took from the article, Doc, is that 97% of us have some immunity from either having had it or vaccine or both. So
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So immunity to the old strains, the old mutations.
Right.
But the worry is why it's being monitored so closely is, would there be a mutation? There's something called the pyrola variant, it's BA.2.86. Right. That one, which is popping up infrequently, but popping up all over the world, does have the potential of not being susceptible to the basic immunity systems that we may have built up from having had COVID or the vaccine before. But we have two layers of immune protection. The second one being T cell, so-called, and those immunities may in fact be much more durable than the basic antibody types of immunity. Anyway, there's a lot of technical talk here, but being watched.
Our fear is that the variant's going to show up. What's a joke with someone that's had really a lot of plastic surgery, like that cat woman?
Yeah.
Woman.
Jocelyn Wildenstein.
Jocelyn Wildenstein variant. Yes. That's what we have to be afraid of. Listen, I don't mean to judge. I've had plastic surgery. I'm just saying there's a lot. Okay. Doc.
And if you have a lot, stay home for a year.
There you go. Chris saw me right after.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay, Doc, you tweeted, good to see benefits of great non-political federal-state collaboration in preparing for and responding to Adalia. But now we need to know that every governor and every presidential candidate understands the role of climate change and commits to stopping human causes. I mean, Doc, I swear, I keep thinking that it is like a Flintstones background of mass shootings and some horrific weather event in the news, is it not?
Yeah.
It is just, and the fact that like any of us are trying to pretend this is normal on the weather front, right?
Yeah, no, it's preposterous. In some ways, if you think about people's attitudes towards gun control and towards climate change as being a presidential candidate IQ test, is the way I look at it. You're either basically it's this kind of binary thing. You're either a political moron and promoting ideas that are absolutely wrong, or you have some sense of balance. And what always troubled me is it's okay if you say we don't know all the details, but we do know there's certainly a human contribution to global warming, and we're going to need to do something about that. That's fine. But we don't get that. We get, Ramaswamy saying it's a hoax is the word he used on television during the debate. And that to me is totally disqualifying. Like, get off the stage now, because you have nothing further to contribute that's going to help our species and our country. It's just extraordinary to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Doc, great stuff as always. Thank you.
Yes.
Get boosted, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Get your shirt. All right, love you. Mwah.
Thanks, Doc.
18 minutes after the